Now today I'm reviewing L7 Trade. I'm really excited by this one, but I don't want to be excited by this one. And the reason I don't want to be excited by it is because it's not transparent. And that means I can't invest heavily in it. But I want to invest heavily in it because I really like it. I haven't seen anything like this before. L7 Trade is a arbitrage system. So in case you don't know what arbitrage is, let's say you've got two exchanges. You could have an exchange in China and they're currently selling Bitcoin for $10,000. And then there's another exchange in New York that's selling Bitcoin for $10,010. So the difference there is $10. And what arbitrage does is it takes advantage of that difference to increase your coin. Now there's plenty of great videos on the internet about how arbitrage works, but I really want to keep this simple. All you need to know is if you start with 1 Bitcoin, by taking advantage of arbitrage, you incrementally grow that Bitcoin, compounding each time until you have 2 Bitcoins or whatever. Now that takes time, but the idea is that you're chipping away at these small differences, very small differences, that over time they add up and they make a big difference. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Okay, so there's lots of stuff on this screen, all right? Don't be put off by that. I'll show you how to use it really, really simply. In fact, I'll show you, there's an incredibly easy way to do this. What you do, let's say Bitcoin. So let me just jump out to the wallet for a second. So these are all the coins that are supported. Now, almost 2 days ago, I put in 0.02 of a Bitcoin. So it's roughly $200. In fact, let me just see what it is. I mean, the price changes all the time, but 0.02 is $218.39. And you can see here that I have more than 0.02 now. I've got this extra bit here. Now it's very modest, but it's a profit. And the idea is here, when they make a trade, apparently, you can't lose because they only trade when they're going to make a profit. You can do this in an automatic way and you can do it in a manual way. Manual is a bit more complicated. You could make a mistake, but if you follow some very simple rules, you'll be fine. So let me show you the history. So obviously they got all these other coins here if you want to work with those, but I just tested some Bitcoin initially. So if I look at the history, so this is where I deposited my Bitcoin, and the first thing I did was an automated order. So this is the start of the order, and I made a profit of 0.00008, which is very, very small, but it's a profit. I then did another 3 automated orders, and you can see that in the next order, it starts off with not 0.02, but your whole balance. So the whole balance is the total from the previous order. So it's accruing each time. And that made a small profit. And then we continue and continue and continue. And this here was a manual order I did. So I tried the manual ones, and then because I'm busy, I then went back to the automatic trades. And I'll show you the difference. But the key thing is you can see that I'm making tiny little profits, tiny little profits, tiny little profits. And the thing is, it's really easy. It's really simple. Here's a spreadsheet. On the 11th of August, quite late, I put in my 0.02 Bitcoin. I did an automatic order. It took roughly 4 hours, and every order, for some reason, seems to take 4 hours. And then you have a delay. You have to wait. But it's one of the rules is you have to have a gap, a waiting time between orders. And I'll get into that in a second. Anyway, here's the percentages. So I started with 0.02. I made this little profit, and that's the difference. That's the gain. And here's the percentage gain. So nearly 0.5%. And then 0.003 for a few times. And then this order here, I did manually. So manual order, I chose the exchanges, and I made just over 0.5%. Now again, these might seem like tiny, tiny little profits, but you can see that after nearly 2 days, it's not 2 days, I've made 2.5%. Now, it's possible to make a lot more than this, and I'm just getting started. But what I've done is I've grown my Bitcoin. There's no dollar conversion. This is just crypto. So you want to put in some Litecoin, some Ripple, whatever. That's what you're growing. You're growing your crypto. You're stacking your coins. But remember, this is not transparent, and I'll go into that in a second. So that means it's very risky. But let me show you how to make a trade. So you start off, you come up to wallet, you click on replenish. It'll show you the wallet address. You send across your money. Once it's arrived, you come onto your dashboard and you click on automatic trade. Now I've currently got one in here, but let's say Litecoin. Let's say I sent in one Litecoin. You can put up to 10 automatic orders. Now, the first one I did, I just clicked on activate. In L7 Trade, in the back office, there's a guy or a bunch of guys, I don't know how many are there, but one of them, someone will interact with your order, choose the best trade for you and place it. Now for that, they take 10% of your profit. So it's in their interest to make as much profit as possible. But as you saw from my spreadsheet, I was actually making more profit when I was doing it on my own, manually. Maybe it's because they were taking their extra fee, their 10%. Anyway, that's the simplest way of doing it. You just click on activate. Now, as you can see here on Bitcoin, I've already, this morning before I went out, first thing in the morning, I came in here and I typed in 3 and I activated. And it's got one order left, and I'm making this about 5:30 in the evening. So this should be finished somewhere around 10 o'clock at night for me. So the great thing about the automatic trade is, you might go away for the weekend. You just stick 10 in here, click activate, come back after the weekend. You've been making money while you're off enjoying yourself. Anyway, for a manual order, I'm on Bitcoin at the moment. If I switched here to Litecoin, for example, it shows I've got 0 balance here on the left. If I go back to Bitcoin, I have a balance here, and this little arrow here, if I clicked on that, it would fill up here. Now it's showing up here, top bid and lowest ask. Now, I can't actually do a manual trade at the moment, and the reason being is because if I come down here to the arbitrage section and I click on MMA regulation, order availability, Bitcoin, I can't place a Bitcoin order for another 5 minutes. So it says here, regulatory time for used cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin is 40 minutes. So you have to have a minimum of 40 minutes gap between those orders. And apparently that's for auditing purposes, and you can read all that stuff if you want. But the point is, you have to have a gap between your orders. So if you're manually doing it, you might want to throw in a few different currencies here. And that'll allow you to play with a few one after another. Now, even though it takes 4 hours for a trade to complete, and you have this gap of 40 minutes in between for Bitcoin, the gaps can be longer if you're doing automatic trades, because a guy needs to see that your next trade needs to be put in, and then he has to look for the right time to go in, and then he has to do it. So, I've noticed that there's a couple of hours gap sometimes. Sometimes it's really quick, but that's the automated side. And you see up here, it says latest news, technical work on Litecoin. Now, earlier on today, there was a big red icon against Litecoin, and they stopped, and you couldn't trade against Litecoin. Now, if you look in their news section, it said due to a significant increase in the number of active users of Litecoin, we're fixing a situation where the current merchant cannot cope with a huge stream of transactions and payouts. So they did their magic in the background, and they said the service will be offline for about an hour. And that was pretty accurate, because I was watching this, and now it's back, and now you can do Litecoin transactions. In fact, I'll do one now. Okay, so I've got one Litecoin here. Because the amounts are very, very small in terms of the profit, when I sent over the Bitcoin, I sent over the minimum you needed, and the minimum to trade on L7 Trade for Bitcoin is 0.02. And the minimum for Litecoin is 1 Litecoin. If you want to see what those minimums are, go into Wallet and click on Information, Fees and Limits. And it tells you all that nice information in here. So for Bitcoin, 0.02 for Litecoin, 1, etc. Right, so I'm going to send over 1 Litecoin. So I click on replenish, copy the address, go into my wallet, click on send, paste. Oh, a fee. Oh, yeah, I should have thought about the fee. See down the bottom here, because it's going to take off that 6 cents in a fee, what's going to arrive is not an exact full Litecoin. I wanted to start with a full Litecoin and then be able to track the progress. But I'll just have to make up the 6 cents on the way. Never mind. Okay, so let me just check the address. MWJO, that's correct. Send that. I'll come back shortly when that's updated itself. Let me just quickly refresh. Oh, in fact, have you noticed that the Bitcoin balance has gone to 0? So if we come back onto trade cycle, Bitcoin balance is 0. That means a trade is in progress. So if I scroll down here, it tells me in this section here under arbitrage that I have a transaction in play. This will be my 8th transaction. So it starts off with L and then all the zeros and then a 1. It says there it's an automatic order. And the 2 exchanges that are in play is Bitston and Bitcub. So if I want to see more on that, I click on read more. It's got all this information here. Now, you can go into all the details, but it's lots of fees and prices and whatnot. Now these names here, the Gunter, Nazuth and all that sort of stuff, let me quickly show you what that's all about. So if I come down to the bottom and open the partner agents. So what was that guy's name again? Gunther. Let me copy it. Now these are all the partners they have around the world. So if I search for Gunther, so he's in Indonesia and he's a merchant and he's somehow enabling their little transactions over there. And then the beneficiary is this guy Thirsak Klin Pranit. And if I search for him, there he is. So he's in Thailand. Yeah, so the small amount I'm putting in is here. So 0.0205. And on this exchange, that's worth 234.89. And on this exchange, it's worth 232. So a difference of $1.50, say. Small little figures, but what it's hoping that I'll get is 0.0206 when it's all done. Now it may not get that, but that's what it's hoping for. So, whoops. Click on back, and if I click on online orders, click on read more, it'll tell you what stage the order's in. So it has to go through all of these stages. So it's a new order. So it's sent across the money, or it's dispatched it rather, and then it's got to wait for it to arrive, do all the bits and pieces, check lots of boxes until the thing's done. And you can click refresh here to get updates. Okay, now again, that might seem complicated, but it's not. You don't have to look at all these bits and pieces. When this Litecoin arrives, I'll show you how to do it nice and simply. Okay, so the Litecoin has arrived. It only took about 5 minutes. So here's the amount I sent over. All right, let's go and make some money. So if I want to do a manual order here, so first of all, I click on the tab that relates to my currency. So I click on Litecoin, and then we've got 2 sides to this. We've got the people who are buying and the people who are selling. Okay, now it talks you through it nice and simply. So you see the way it's got red here, and then you got red here, and then blue in this section, and then blue font here. So in this section, you'll pick the exchange which matches the red, and in this section, you'll pick the exchange that matches in the blue. Now let me show you if I wanted to do this automatically. So I've got just under one Litecoin. I click on automatic trade. I come in here and I just click activate, and it will place an order for me, right? That's it. That's all you got to do. Nice and simple. You'll get an email when the order is completed. Let me show you an email. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so here's the email I got from my last trade. It tells you when it's done. So you see that email, you go back in and yeah, you might place another one. My advice starting off would be just do one order, right? Stick in the minimum, try the thing out. But remember, this is high risk. Sorry, I will explain. I will explain that. I'll get to that in a minute. This video is taking a bit longer than I was expecting. Normally, I break all these things down into separate videos. This one's everything jumbled together. So anyway, manage your risk and manage your greed, please. Actually, let me tell you now about the transparency, or the lack of it. We don't know who the people are behind this company. I have some names, and I'll maybe make a separate video about why you can ignore them. But what I'm telling you right now is we don't know who are behind this platform. I've been in contact with the people who are behind this. They won't give me their details. They want to remain anonymous. I don't like that. If they're anonymous, this site can disappear tomorrow, take your funds, and you're done. Let me actually show you. I go to Compound Daily. So let's say I put in $100. So I've made 2.5%. Well, let me just put down 2%. If I was to make 2% in a day, and let me show you with a calculator. Normally, if I invested $100 at 2% per day, that would give me, $2 a day, and it would take 50 days to get return on my capital. Now, that number of days comes down when you compound. So let's say 50 days, and I'll say I'll reinvest every day. So we kind of just do it automatically. Weekends, yes. Calculate now. So what it's saying is that over those 50 days, the total I had in there grows from $100 to $269. So the profit's $169 with your capital back. Now, if you don't understand compound interest, please study this. Think about how it works. Because at the end of day one, if you've made $2, you've now got $102. So at the beginning of the next trade, you're not investing $100, you're investing $102. And then by the time you get to your 10th trade, you're investing $121 instead of $100. So hopefully you get the idea. So what I want to see at this point is, when does this get to the $200 mark? Okay, so roughly after 35 days, you'll have earned enough to take your capital out. So on day 35, you'll have 199.97 in there. That's if you were making 2% per day. I fully believe that you can make 3-4% per day, right? Or 1%, whatever. It can vary, obviously. So at that point, after 35 days, so let's say I stuck in $100. I mean, I know the minimum's higher than that, but just to round up the figures, I put in $100. The risk exposure I have is 35 days approximately. At the end of 35 days, if I'm trading automatically or even manually, whatever it is, and then I take out my $100. So whatever my initial capital was, I then withdraw it. I still have the same amount I started with back in there. The original, I take out my $100, great. Put that back in my pocket. And the other $100, I can start with that again. So I'm back down to $100, but I know everything I have in there now is pure profit. And if I start doing the same thing again, in another 35 days, I'll have $200 total profit. Okay, I hope you get the idea of that. Okay, so back on the trade cycle dashboard. Sorry, just to show you as well, is anytime you see the letter I anywhere on the page, you can click on that. So if I click on that now, it'll show me all of the current arbitrage rates for the different currencies. Now, I don't really know why they didn't stick this in a table, like a list, like a spreadsheet. But anyway, so to get rid of that information, you click on the eye again. And for automatic trade, if I click on the eye, it gives me some information about that. You can read that, but basically they take 10% of the final delta, the delta being the difference, i.e. the gain. Now, you know how to create, so I've showed you how to create an automatic trade. Very simple. You click on the currency you want, like Litecoin, click on automatic trade, type in 1, click on activate, and off you go. Now, the very first time you should do this, I recommend that's the first thing you should do. Just create one order. Or if you happen to be going away for a few days, stick in 5 or whatever, but understand that there's about a 5-hour turnaround with the 4-hour transaction plus the waiting time in between. So in your head, if you just say it's a 5-hour period, and then check your email, see what your profit is. It'll be very small, but it'll grow. You just keep spinning, repeating, rinse and repeat. Okay, so I'm going to do a manual order. So if I click up here, I'm looking for Litecoin. Here we are. Now, I'm not 100% sure which of these is relevant at the moment, but I can see that there's a profit to be made. A small profit, but there's a profit. Now, if I had some Ethereum, I'd probably go for this one here. So just so you know, it's talking about minimum volume and average volume. If an exchange has very small volume, it means there's not a lot of liquidity. There's not a lot of orders. So you might only have like 20 people sitting in an exchange trading, or another exchange you got 20,000 people. So you got very fast turnaround of orders. So what this is talking about is an average volume. Average volume means your order should go through quicker, more likely to get it. The minimum volume, less likely. So with Ethereum, for example, that's looking good. They're on the 4%. I'm not exactly sure what the 118 is there. We will figure this out as we go along. I'm still quite new to this. So Litecoin, there's possibly 0.5 to 2% gain to be made. Right, so I'm going to do that. That's the only coin I can play with at the moment. So click on the eye to get rid of it. So I've got my balance here. I'm going to click on this up arrow, select the whole lot. Ah, damn it. The minimum order for this is 1 Litecoin. Okay, bear with me. I'm going to send across some more. Actually, just in case you're interested, I'll show you a simple way to buy Litecoin once you have some sort of currency in here. So I've got some Bitcoin in my Exodus wallet. Yeah, so I'm going to buy some Litecoin. So I click on here. And by the way, if you don't see your currency here, because it'll be 0, for example, you just click on the search icon, type in Litecoin or whatever currency you're looking for, and it'll come up with this. Then you click on here for the exchange. No, okay. So I want to, sorry, I had a little bit of a panic there. I thought it was doing I thought it was doing the same order again. So I'm going to click on Start New Exchange. I'm going to do another Litecoin, but I'm going to add an extra little bit in it. So I'm going to do 1.1 Litecoin. And that's going to cost me $97 or so. All right, that's, whoa, what changed there? All right, let me type it in again. The price must have just changed. 1.1, just to give me a little bit of leeway. And actually, let me do as close as I can. So 1.01. Yeah, I'm just going to do, I think that should be enough. So 1.02. Okay, I'm going to click on exchange just to handle the fees. Starting the exchange. Now, the thing with Exodus is it's not going to give you necessarily the best price. It might be $1 or $2 more expensive than another exchange, but it's just very simple to do. It's easy. So for convenience, that's what I'm doing today. If I was buying thousands of Litecoins, I would do it differently. I'm going to check in about an hour to see when that Litecoin arrives. So if I look at Exodus, it says your exchange is complete. So if I go back to my wallet, I've now got 1.02 Litecoin in there. So I just worked out how much Litecoin I want to send across. So when I send this across, I want there to be 2 full Litecoins there. So that's the amount I need to arrive. First of all, I need to get the address again. So I'm going to go into Wallet. Under Litecoin, I click Replenish. It's the same address. Click Send. Paste in the address. And let's start with all for a second. It's the same transfer fee as before, 6 cents. What I want to arrive is this figure. So I'll paste that in. So you're sending 000678 and fee 6 cents. Okay, that looks fine. All right, send. Okay, I'll check back in a couple of minutes. Okay, that took about 3 minutes, but as you can see, under Litecoin, I now have exactly 2 Litecoin. Okay, now I'm going to trade that. So I'm going to trade cycle, which is effectively the dashboard, and I click on a Litecoin. And again, if I want to automatically trade it, I just come in here, choose one, and click activate. But no, I'm going to do it manually. And let me just check the rates first. I click on the big eye, look under Litecoin. Okay, that's a bit better than it was last time. So there's 3% up for grabs, I think. Okay, so here's my 2 Litecoin here under trade cycle. I'm on Litecoin USD. I click this to send all my money into the availability area. Click on apply. Now, top bid 87.7, lowest ask 83.75. Now I'll show you, there's 2 ways of doing this. If I click on here and say select exchange for sale, it's flashing on all these. So basically, your from and your to. Your from is the red, so look up and down here and search for 87.17. Or what I do is I copy it. I'm on a Windows 10 machine, so I press Control F. I think it's Command F on a Mac. Paste that in. It shows there's 2 entries there. There's the one I just copied up there, and there's the other one highlighted down there. So all I do is check that. This information can change while you're even in there, so, but don't feel you're too rushed. Give yourself a couple of minutes to do this, and if it changes, then start again. Okay, 87.17, and now it says on the lowest ask is 83.75. So just to be sure, there we go down there, 83.75. Oop. Now that jump where it refreshed means that things have changed. Let me see if these prices are still relevant. 87.17, yeah, and 83.75. Okay, so they're still relevant. Click on go to order processing, scrolls me down to here. So I'm putting in 2 Litecoin, yep. Don't worry too much about all the information here, but the delta here, the delta is the difference between the 2 prices in terms of what I can earn based on my 2 Litecoin. And it's expecting, when all the fees are taken into consideration, that will be the profit. 0.01. So the delta is 0.038, but you're only going to get 0.01, which is very small, but again, it's a profit. So let them have their fees. Can't really change anything about that. You notice it's changed now. It was 0.01 and now it's 0.009. Now you can hang around until you think these values have changed for the better or not. 83.87. Anyway, by the time, 4 hours, it takes 4 hours for this whole process to go through. So I'm just going to say confirm the exchange operation. Do you want to confirm? Yes, I do. Order is being successfully created. Okay, get rid of that. So I got two orders in play. Now the automatic one has got that nice little auto symbol there to tell you that it's automatic, and then the blank one, no little label underneath, means it's the manual order. So you can come back in here and read more, and it's the same information that was across here on the left basically, but I just got to wait for it to finish. Anyway, that's how you place a manual order. So just to refresh, the key things you do is you click on the big I. If you've got lots of different coins, you're going to hunt around here and look for which is the biggest delta, the biggest percentage. Then you click on that coin. I've only got Litecoin and Bitcoin, but you then click on the arrow here to send it into here, click apply. Then you check the from exchange and the to exchange. Then you click on go to order processing, and then you confirm. And then the order's in. Now, I believe that if the order, one thing I forgot to mention, was down here when it showed the profit. It was in green, right? Green means good, green's for go, green's for profit. If it was in red, it would mean that you're making a negative, you're making a loss, so you wouldn't proceed with that. Now, I'm happy to make any profit, but because it takes up to 5 hours for this cycle to complete, don't feel you're rushed into it. Pick what you think is the right thing. Or if you're not sure, just click on the automatic option. Okay, so they have this exchange as well. So let's say you only had Bitcoin like I did. I could send across, whatever amount of Bitcoin and then decide I want to change that for Ethereum or Dash or Zcash or whatever. And one thing I noticed yesterday was Zcash was on fire. I don't know exactly why, but there were some very good percentages being shown here. They were all 4.5%, 5%. At the time, I had my orders in automatic mode, so I couldn't actually do anything. Now, I could have sent across more money and then done the conversion. Now, they take a 0.5% commission. You might want to check the rates. It might be a similar sort of setup to the Exodus wallet, but it's handy to have that exchange because it means that you can jump around. You do one trade in Bitcoin, you suddenly see the better price on Ethereum in terms of your gains. So you convert to Ethereum, you lose 0.5%. You trade in there for a while, maybe you get 4%, whatever. It's nice to have that option. So when you sign up to this, if you look in the first comment below this video or under the description of the video, you'll see my sign up link. So my sign up link looks like this. Brings you to here. Now, it's not that intuitive, but what you basically do is you click on enter. You fill in your username, your password, and then you click sign in. Now, what that really means is sign up or register. So it's just a bad translation. And then once you're in, go to the wallet, whatever your coin is, click on replenish. It'll give you an address. You copy it, send to it, wait for it to go across. Once it's across, you go into trade cycle. If you want to start off the easy way, just click on automatic trade, pick the one you want, click activate, and off you go. Now don't forget to check what the limits are. So in the wallet, click on the information there button at the top, scroll down and see what the limits are per coin. Oh, and I forgot to mention about account verification. You can't just send across 2 or 3 Bitcoins and start trading here. And please remember, this is high risk because these guys are not transparent. But basically there's a verification option. So you click on the menu up here and you go into verification. And once you're verified, you can then trade with higher limits. But below that, they're your limits. So if you don't want to be verified, that's fine, but you got to stick to the low limits. And my advice is to stick to the low limits anyway. Get your money back. Like the calculation I showed earlier with the compound daily. Maybe 35 days, give or take. Don't stick a lot in. Whatever you put in, the usual, be prepared to lose it, and don't cry if you do lose it. It's a risk. If you're not prepared to take that risk, then just don't go in. But if you do go in, get that money back as soon as you can. 35 days later, take it out, and then just play with profits and build with profits. Now, if this arbitrage trading platform is going to stand the test of time, and I doubt that it will because they're not, and because these guys are staying anonymous, and they give me all these reasons, but so I have to assume at some point they're going to exit and take whatever we have in there. So manage your risk, please. If this site goes down and you only have profit in there, that's going to feel a lot better, or at least not as bad as if when the site disappears you've got capital in there. So please manage your risk. I'll do more updates on my progress here so you can see how I'm doing. And if you don't want to risk at all, just sit back and enjoy watching me take the risks. All right, take care.